Leave Lolly alone. She doesn't want to fuck with you. Just leave her alone.
Hello, everyone who is tuning in on YouTube and in the interweb world, and to the two humans that are still trying to connect here. It is I, Robbie Rapole. Whoa, where did I go? What are we doing here?
Get the cat butt out of here. Come on. What are you doing? Come on. Hello.
Hello. I think Robbie might be frozen.
He
I
had a
think
good
we
run.
lost him for a second. We got to get him better internet.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be back any minute.
Or he's not coming back. This is it. No one ever hears from Robbie ever again.
This is it. This is the moment.
Yeah, that probably won't happen. He'll be back. I'm just
I
reassuring
like your
myself at
kitty,
this
by
point.
the way.
Oh, thank you. Her legal name is Small Cat.
Yeah. I had
She's
one named
10.
Itty Bit.
She's 10 and I never came up with a better name, so that's her. She'll be back up on this table in no time at all.
Oh,
I have
definitely.
chips, so all right, we'll give Robbie 1 minute
Yes.
and we'll just start talking.
Mm,
He'll be back.
good, because if he doesn't have a topic, I do.
Now he's texting me.
Oh,
It says you left, but we're on. All right, Robbie, come on back.
oh no, did you freeze too?
I don't think so.
Okay. You
Does
froze
it
for
say
a
I'm still
split
here?
second there. Now you're back.
Ah,
You just for a split second, but you're fine.
fair enough. We'll give Robbie just another second here. He'll be back. This is captivating viewing for anybody else that's watching.
Cue Jeopardy music.
2 people waiting for Robbie. He said he was going out to get milk and then he'd be right back. He's going out for smokes. He'll be back any minute now, man.
5 years later.
Yeah, patiently waiting here. All right. So hey. Is he back?
I don't see him yet. Wait, yes, I think I see him. He's coming.
Hey!
Heyo.
How's everybody doing here?
Good.
It made me the host when you left, so
I was wondering,
watch, suckers.
I was wondering how it was going to let me in, because it was like, oh yeah, the host is going to let you in. I was like, so I just jumped on my phone since my computer's being, computery.
Can I ask an important tech related question?
Holler.
Because I have my AirPods in and I know that they're really close to my jaw. Can you guys hear me eating these Funyuns? Because I will
No.
mute myself if so.
No.
No, we
Oh,
can't hear
that's
it.
good. That's
No.
good. I was like, that would really suck if the podcast was just crunching noises for the first 5 minutes.
I mean, it started with more technical difficulties today, so
Yeah.
at least I found a loophole now. I feel like I found a loophole with my technical difficulties. So like I
Yeah.
get it on, I get the event live streamed, and then fuck it, my phone will work. So
Here we are.
baby steps. I mean, this is like episode number 35 or some shit. So I've kind of got a couple of things figured out here. And if since it's a weekly model, what is that? That's 35 weeks. That's a little short of a year, because 52 weeks in a year.
I think we're
And
actually
we
at
took some weeks
episode
off.
45.
Really? Huh.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's 45.
I thought it was
want to
35.
say
What?
that we
I don't know.
started. Hold on. Math. I want to say that it started around July of last year. And I say this because I was listening to episode 3 with you and Erica Noon.
Yeah, noon.
And that was on the way to Rubber City in Akron, which I want to say was either July or August. And that's what got to you and I talking, because I met Gabe in person at that. And then I was on like the week after, which was hilarious because I was on for at least 2 weeks, or I was on for at least 2 months while I tattooed at my old job. Because when I quit, the owner acted like he didn't know that we did this, even though we were both supposedly people that were important in his life. So that was a good laugh. That was a good laugh. But yeah, so I'm gonna guess July, which it's April. So yeah, it'll be a year before we know it.
Dude, no shit. That's crazy. Yeah. And so here we are on episode 35 or 45 or somewhere between there, you never know. So I'm over here in front of my computer, and I really believe that my computer has a very hard time with internet. That's what I believe, because it's telling me no internet right now, and I know that's not the truth. I know that's not the truth. Anyway, yeah, it's an emotional ride when you find out people that you thought were on your team aren't on your team.
Yeah.
People you rode for, people that pretend. And then you just like hear things and see things that are just like hard evidence that you can't fight. And it's like, man, that's weird. And then you just have to like feel it and move on. Because like, one of the things that happens to me a lot, I'm sure a lot of tattooers can relate, is worries about money. I talk about this a lot on a lot of different platforms, because it's a real thing in my life, which is it's crazy to me that it is a real thing in my life, because I know what my fucking situation looks like on the back end. But I have accustomed myself to living in these patterns of worry, and then the worry alleviates because more money comes, and then worry alleviates because more money comes. And I feel like breaking that pattern is difficult, but also breaking the pattern of allowing people to treat you the way that you used to allow people to treat you when you were too needy. That's also a similar thing to the money scarcity issue, because when you're constantly looking for a mentor or a parental figure or a leader or somebody to help you, every time I've been in those states, I've always gotten kind of screwed around the most. And it seems that the same thing with the money worries. When you're worried about it the most, it's always more effective. But when you don't worry about it, the effects of it aren't really there because it's not really a thing. So it's just interesting how like we allow these things that come to us in our lives to mean so much when they actually don't. We're just letting old programs and old patterns repeat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
it
interesting.
is. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I always use blue cars as the example. If you're thinking about blue cars, you'll notice every blue car. I think it's the same thing with like the money scarcity and all that. That if you are really worried about something, things that there have been times where like I wasn't like financially clutch, but I wasn't hurting, and an unexpected expense would come up, and it would kind of take my bank account down to like, oh, but I wasn't really stressing on it because I knew I had like a busy week the next week, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. If you're looking for those financial woes and that's what's really on your mind, that is 100% where you will bump into, really stressing on it because every little thing that normally probably wouldn't get you, oh man, I got a fucking nail in my tire. I got to go get that fixed. Even if it turns out they can plug it and it only costs $20, it's just you're
Right.
looking for those reasons to be gripey about it. And so you are gripey about it. Whereas that exact same thing could happen to you 2 months later when you're not really looking for reasons and you are going to just kind of skate right on past it.
Yeah. It's interesting how that goes. And like, that's the focus thing. Like what you focus on is what's going to show up. And I noticed today, before I had like an emotional outburst and like was venting a bunch of my fucking struggles slash problems.
I like problems.
Problems. Yeah, I just came up
Yeah,
with that.
that's a good one.
It was a happy accident. But I found a way to spin the narrative to work for me. So I went through this emotional outburst, how like, I'm doing all the jobs, right? And I'm the only one doing this job, and and so just getting it all out. And then like later, and it's funny because Donna's like, well, the baby will go for a nap and then we'll go to the park and then you'll do feelings. And I'm like, yeah, I have this feeling that he's not going down for a quick, easy nap. And we're probably gonna miss the park. And then like I got all fucking fussy and stressed, and I was like, I gotta get out of this house. I'm going stir crazy. And then I like clarity hit me. And it was like, well, 10 minutes ago you just said you don't want to go anywhere. Now you're saying you want to get out of the house. You're obviously in a frenzy. What do you do best when you're in a frenzy? Sit with the baby and let him give you a nap. And so like I had this clarity, right? And I was like, wow, this is fucking great. So anyway, before that whole clarity moment and all the, the baby napping happened, I was thinking, wow,
Can we have one podcast where we don't talk about baby napping?
I know, fucking who do I think I am, just taking naps with babies all the time? But like, so I was thinking, wow, I really haven't had crazy, like, regretful outbursts in the morning that I used to have. And if I do freak out, it's like it's communicatable. I can communicate through it and I can be communicated to faster after. So it was just really interesting that like, instead of looking for a fight and causing a problem, I just kind of like emotionally vented while I fucking like vent cleaned a little bit. And Donna was like, yeah, I get it. I understand. I feel you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. And then like, I realized, oh shit, I need to take a nap with this baby. But like the version of me that I used to live that I was running from all the time was the version that would start a fight, create a fight, nurture a fight, and then be mad that a fight happened. And then like hours or days later, I'd be like, fuck, I was a real jerk. I need to apologize. But like at this point in my life, it was just, maybe an hour of just me like fluttering around, frustrated, not causing a fight, but just like bitchy grunting and like realizing I'm bitchy grunting and able to get through it. So, all the things I was worried about, all the things that were bothering me, that's all fine and good. Because really the true factor is I have so much fucking progress I didn't think I could achieve and didn't realize I actually had until I was in this moment where I had to check my progress on accident. So that was more of like just a story of how my day has gone so far. And kind of a celebration for myself to be like, yo, You're not perfect, dog, but guess what? You're getting better at being imperfect.
I love
And
when
that
you get
feels
to recognize those moments when you realize I'm handling this a lot better than I would a year ago.
right. And even one thing I'm not super fucking proud of, but I had a brownout while drinking the other night. And for those who don't know what a brownout is, when you black out for a short period and come back. And I did that. And I felt weird and I felt bad about it because drinking isn't supposed to be something that turns me off. It's supposed to be something that's just silly fun to do.
Yeah.
And I went a little too far, but I was able to actually control myself because like I told Donna the next day, I'm like, man, I feel really embarrassed. Like I went too far. And she's like, no, it's okay. Like you don't have anything to be embarrassed about. And to have your partner tell you that you don't have to have anything to be embarrassed about, like after you like lost a portion of the night because you're a fucking irresponsible idiot. I was like, wow, maybe I actually just don't have as much like pent up rage and aggression and like shit that'll pop out. So to me, I guess I was like, wow, maybe I've cleared up some of that past healing that I've been working on because it's not just falling out of me when I'm not really in control of myself.
Yeah.
So while I wasn't proud of myself for over drinking, I was actually proud of myself for like not turning into a monster when I overdrank or like turning into a pile of emotions and just like crying everywhere and shit, you know, like the usual suspects that I would be embarrassed about didn't show up. And I was just loud and goofy, which is something I can definitely do without being drunk. But just another progress marker. And I think the reason why I like using these different progress markers is because yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I kind of wasn't perfect in the moments, right? But it's about progress, not perfection, because perfection isn't fucking attainable. Fucking watch Tron Legacy. That movie, they fucking dropped a couple of fucking nuggets on me right quick today while the baby was napping. All right. And the pursuit of perfection is kind of what like took down the whole Tron world type thing. And at one point he's talking to his former the version of himself that he created to help him manage this world. He's like, man, I wouldn't have made you to think things need to be perfect because there's no such thing as perfect. And I can't remember the way he did it, the way he worded it, but it was like, wow. But yeah, so like I can go ahead and make things that are considered mistakes in my personal current quest for greatness, but also look at those mistakes as high quality fucking mistakes versus the low level trash mistakes I used to make that would have me doing damage control for days, weeks, months, or maybe irreparable damage. So it's just kind of cool that like I can acknowledge, holy shit, I may not be perfect. That's all right. But the coolest part is I actually can grow in my pursuit of getting better. And I will grow and I do grow. And because I've lived 42 years now, right? I've got enough data to prove to me that I've lived and progressed and evolved enough times that I will live, progress, and evolve more times. So I can actually be optimistic about the problems I have in the future and the mistakes I make in the future, because they're going to be smaller compared to the shit I'm facing now. Was that all followable?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was just a big brain dump that made me excited to share. And I think it's because I've kind of been in a funky place all day. So it was kind of like nice to find gold.
Weird day.
Yeah, weird day, you know, like me and Dusty talked for about an hour before we got on here. And I think that also helped me vent out a lot of my worries and woes and things. But yeah, man, sometimes like the day just starts out weird, and that's okay. You know, one of my good friends who owns an amazing restaurant locally named Shea Kwan's, he posted something today about being gentle with yourself that I reposted on my Facebook. And like, I couldn't even tell you the whole quote, but all I fucking remembered a part of be gentle with yourself, like have grace with yourself. Like, fuck, man, it's about having grace with yourself. It's not about being perfect. And
You're
like,
not wrong.
that's just it's kind of cool. And like, putting that into my relationship with Donna, she wants marriage really bad. I would love that. I'm too terrified to fucking say yes to marriage, to pursue marriage. But at some point in time, that's got to go away. Like, you can't be afraid of the things that like you want to do and feel like you're going to inevitably do. But if you're too afraid of them for too long, they're just going to sit there at a distance and probably cause damage to your future.
Courage is being afraid and going ahead anyway.
Thank you for finishing that thought.
And I would make an adorable ring bearer. So just something to think about.
You know what? How about this? So I can have Jaden carrying Zen, and Zen is carrying the pillow, but then you'll be carrying Jaden.
Yeah, I'm in.
So it'll be the trifecta of ring bear men.
Yeah. I'm trying to be the ring bearer.
Right? Ring bearer squared to the third. Ring bearer to the third.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, seriously, like I remember a little over a year ago, I was at this event at a tattoo shop grand opening, and got a lot of tattooers together. And one of my friends, Emily from my season of Ink Master, was there. And we've always had this like way of like getting deep and just like going to the things. And she was like, if you don't wipe that girl up someday, she probably gonna get tired of waiting around. And that's true. And that goes for anything, right? Like if you've got a great opportunity and something you need to get over your old fears about, why wouldn't it serve you to get with it and move forward? So,
and then Robbie was like, I'll just put a baby in her. Meh.
Which was basically kind of what happened. Because I was more comfortable making a baby than I was making a marriage. Because I did fathering successfully for 22 years now. I've not done marriage successfully.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right. So I was like, I'm comfortable with this. And I mean, the end game for me is to be with one person. I don't really care to Tinder for the rest of my life, and I don't need a harem. So,
Sorry, that was extra funny to me because I think we know someone trying to do that.
I didn't, dude, and that wasn't even a direction. I was just thinking of the options, right? Like if I'm a fucking single successful dude, I'm either fucking Tindering, being alone.
It's marriage or a harem, clearly.
Or like having a harem. Like,
You go eat sister wives.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and to be quite honest, Donna would like sister wives because then it's like assumed responsibility stuff, I probably like sister wives the least because of human management issues.
That's a lot of work for a man.
Dude, look,
to
man.
Keep happy.
Right. And like all the things I have going in my life and all the relationships that I have with other people, that's already a lot for me.
Could you imagine managing more than one romantic relationship?
Oh man. And like
I can't imagine managing one.
Dude,
like, come
right
on,
now
come on.
in my life, neither can I. I am married to tattooing. A relationship is a waste of my potential.
And I did that married to tattooing thing for most of my life.
Lauren's trying to get in the chat.
Oh, Dusty,
Lauren's trying to get in. Somebody's got to let her in. She just messaged me.
Dusty's the
admit.
Dusty's the leader right now. My computer is being poopty.
Joining. Hey, we did it.
There we go.
See, and my computer
add tech wizard to my resume.
Man, look at you saving the tech.
Because I clicked join.
Dude, saving the tech on Let's Talk About Feelings. Robbie gets booted and Dusty's the host. Lauren, you're muted.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Hello. How are you?
I am doing great, actually. I'm just leaving where I work.
Okay. Is that a
I will-
hospital?
No, actually, here, I'll show you. Kind of funny if you want to talk about feelings, right?
Hey.
We
yeah,
do that.
I used to be here for 6 years, with one of the previous brands that I was involved in on this side of the building, and mine's on the other. But it's actually, the building is completely demolished where it used to be. It's kind of interesting. This used to be our for my position not to be named, but yeah, it's kind of neat to see that it's been completely renovated.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's awesome. That looks so cool.
Yeah, so our warehouse was throughout here, the studio was here. Yeah, pretty
Fuck yeah.
interesting stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, how you guys doing? I was kind of listening in and sent a couple of you messages to let me in.
I'm
Yeah,
glad somebody saw.
my computer doesn't like to stay online, so we're figuring this out. But yeah, I've just been I feel like I've been doing most of the talking today. I've had a lot to talk about, I guess, and I didn't realize it. But yeah, talking about, it seems like progress, not perfection, is kind of the thing, focusing on what's going well, not what's not going well. All those type of topics is kind of where we seem to be radiating around.
I believe we were talking about harems at the moment.
And sister wives.
Right,
Okay,
right.
sister wives. Okay.
Because if at some point in time I don't marry Donna, I'm either going to be single, again, Tindering, and I was like, I
Hey.
don't really need a harem.
You want to hear what my sister told me recently?
What's that?
She said that out of married men, we'll just use married men, single men, or married women. Married men tend to live the longest because a man, I'm not saying that I'm being, any particular way, but studies show a man needs a woman to say, hey, don't text and drive. Hey, watch what you're doing. Hey, you need to take your supplements or whatever it is. And that
Don't climb that ladder that's only teetering on one leg. You can't make it.
yeah, that's like commitment, but by committing to something like that, it does show that you are committing to your own life as well, and you may even live longer. That submission, I suppose.
Right, and it's weird because like I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and she doesn't ever let me forget it. And the baby is also a reminder. Like I feel really bad that like he's got my name and not her last name. Like I wouldn't want to be there, and I feel like that's like really honorable for her to sacrifice that. Right off rip. And not that my fucking family name means anything to me, but my connection to my children means something to me.
Yeah.
And so like that's been weighing on me a lot. And then just like the fact that why the fuck hold on to something you're afraid of for so long. I am definitely the type to jump towards the things I'm afraid of more than hold on to them and sit frozen and not do that shit. So, and then that applying to everything else in life, like that one fucking meme that keeps floating around of like the person holding the rope and how much damage it does to your hands, and then like when you let go, the lack of damage that happens to your hands. So it's interesting that there's like this daily fight, it seems sometimes, of just trying to get over the humps of the emotional feelings and the distresses that pop up. Even for a guy like me that really shouldn't have as many distresses as I like to allow to invade my space. So, yeah.
Have you ever listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza, his perspective on that?
Not on that specific topic, but I love him.
Yeah, kind of on like the comfortability of, because we kind of train ourselves. I guess one of the questions he asked in one of the videos I watched, is this a temperament? Is this just a mood that I'm in today, or has this become my temperament? And when it becomes your temperament, it's because it feels normal and our bodies like to feel normal, even if it's not
your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
That
Even if
discomfort.
it's bad.
Yeah.
I like being stressed, so it feels normal to be stressed, so that I will look for something that stresses me out in a situation or something like that. How do you, like,
Right.
when that comes in, it's like, how do you talk yourself out of it in the moment when you're so comfortable being uncomfortable, but you need to be uncomfortable in another uncomfortable way?
Dude, paradoxical, like
Because the discomfort is better than the unknown.
right.
The fear of the unknown is larger than the fear of something you already know.
I think that's definitely a big part of it. Or like the fear of what you don't want to happen is a big one too. But that can fall into a subset of fear of the unknown. But yeah, like, what do you do when you're living a paradox? First acknowledge that you're living a paradox, right? And then just kind of figure out, like, what's the best step next, right? Like, every time I make the wrong step, I wish I had made the other one. So I try to, like, not make a step in a situation that I'm gonna wish I had not made that step. Like, sending messages, writing comments. Like, this one person on fucking Facebook, always negative on every single fucking piece of content. I try to create positivity and human growth and togetherness. This person is negative. And I'm always trying to help them spin it. And one day I almost didn't, and I almost snapped. And that thought of,
that's what he's trying to get you to do.
Right. And like, right, because like I can't be this positive all the time, right? I can't always have a fucking answer. But like the truth is, you can't always have a fucking answer. You can choose positive all the time if you choose to. It's hard to choose that, but like I thought of, don't text in anger, don't say anything in anger. What's that saying? Don't make a decision while you're happy or you're angry. Because if you're happy, you might make the wrong one. If you're angry, you'll most definitely make the wrong one. Try to just be neutral and human when you're making your decision and not swayed by the mood you're so I try to not be swayed.
Don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry.
Right, exactly.
Same logic, yeah.
Right, and it seems my early day temperament is to be in a frustrated state and sometimes look for a fight. So I have to remember that that's just the way that's going to be for a moment until I can get out of that, and then like choose the proper fucking decision. Don't engage conversation when you shouldn't. Don't start making messages to your clients and friends and people that you're waiting on deadlines from when you're stressed, like, and don't call them when you're fucking celebrating either, like, just call them when it's time to do business.
I was listening to someone about the vibrational frequencies of certain emotions.
Okay.
And I forget exactly what it went, but the video's context was like letting go of control and why that's such a good thing for you, because like, you build up this idea of what something should be like, and you kind of quantify it in your brain. And when it isn't like that, you feel like a failure. But like you kind of talked about like the frequency of anger versus fear versus, all of those different things. And it's pretty interesting to see that we actually just like are resonating all of these different things all the time, that we don't even recognize the connection between,
Right.
like in anger or commenting in anger.
Right. Like, a lot of people say, don't check, and this goes for your field, right? So like, don't check your emails if emailing is a part of your business. Don't check your social media if social media is a part of your business. Don't engage in business time before it's business time. So like Carl from Villain Arts, I remember him saying one time he doesn't talk to anyone about business until after noon PM. Noon, because like he can't fucking do it. Like it just, he's not gonna be who he needs to show up as during that communication. And like for me, my prime work times is like 1 to 6, 1 to 8. You know, if I'm still working, I can run later. But like, if I'm really best to do work of any sort, it's between 1 and 8 p.m. Like I'm conditioned to that. So like I shouldn't engage in all the things I engage in outside of that. Because I know sometimes I'm not the right one for the job. So it's interesting how I feel like we all have like a time we need to turn on and turn off at on our business lives.
I mean, they
Yeah,
do
my
always,
mentor is a morning person and it sucks.
Right. What was that, Lauren?
they do always talk about like that power, you know, intensity, you know, whatever it is, 90 minutes, 2 hours, but it's always so short of like your best work, you know, and it's like, man, people try to spread their best work out of, you know, some entrepreneurs 24/7, really. Like Carl,
Right.
imagine you get a fraction of what he's really worth if you're going to hit him up at 8 in the morning.
No shit. No shit. Especially if he's got, you know, 4 conventions in a row, you know, in 4 different quadrants of the US at 4 different times. But that was another thing that Tron Legacy dropped on me. Bro, fucking doing nothing can be really productive. Ooh, fuck. Sometimes,
Yes, it can.
like, sometimes you just have to take a fucking nap with a baby, Dusty, as much as you don't like hearing about me napping with my baby. Sometimes you got to nap with the baby. And like for me, when I'm frustrated and all over the place, sitting still is the best thing for me. It's the hardest thing for me, but it's the best thing for me. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like brushing your hair, you know, making
What's
things
that?
smooth. It's almost like brushing your hair, you know, things are all crazy. And then just that smooth action. I don't know, that's a good comparison, but kind of, you know, like I feel like that too. And I've had two kids, you know, you've had 2 kids, Robbie. And that's a good comparison, like just napping with the baby. But in other words, the baby could be any form of stress, you know.
Absolutely. And like, it's funny because like I'm acknowledging like when I need him, he typically needs me in those situations. And he was whining at me from his playpen, and Donna was in there laying with him, and he didn't want her. And I'm like, maybe he needs me. Let me just pick him up. And then it clicked. I was like, I need a nap with him. Like, I don't even need a nap, but I need to sit with him because like he needs to pin me down. I went through like 30 minutes of discomfort because I had to poop really bad. And then I fucking slid out from under him. Like 2 hours into the nap, I couldn't do it anymore. And so like I slid out from under him and he stayed sleeping still. So like him forcing me to calm down and chill like removed me from that wheel spinning cycle. So yeah, whatever it cause you to sit still, you should probably do it.
He knows you were talking about him.
I know.
Hey, buddy.
Don't get that baby.
He's getting, last time I saw him,
I know, dude, he walks. What's up?
I think I saw him like on here like 9 months or something.
Yeah, so he's 11 months now, and he walks everywhere, like full-time walking. Like I haven't seen him crawl in a bit.
He doesn't crawl at all anymore.
The only time he crawls is like crossing the threshold in and out of the back door. But like, yeah, he's going fast. And you know, there's gonna be a time where the baby won't want a nap. And he won't want to rescue me from my shit. So like, I better take advantage of like the baby knowing when I need rescuing from myself, while I still have it. And just, you know, really appreciate like what you were saying, Dusty, the blue cars, appreciate what I've got in front of me, which is this fucking wonderful family that loves me and supports me and is there with me, you know, and appreciates me even at my lowest, and builds me back up and supports me through it all and loves me back to health all the time. You know, because in the grand scheme of things, that's what marriage is about. It's about fucking growing old with somebody and having a lifelong love and companion that you can share like your life with. Like that's my concept for marriage. So like to say no to that sounds like I'm actually saying no to what I want. What I'm saying no to is the fear of divorce. But I've made it through every divorce I've been through. And, you know, if I just turned into that guy that gets divorced 7 times and married 12, you know, whatever. Like,
You're still better than my grandmother.
math-
She was married 5 times and survived every single one of them.
right,
That
exactly.
math does not math at all. Unless you're
You know-
doing the sister wives.
Dude, if there's 7 divorces, we're gonna go fucking harem style. All right, I'm obviously not meant for single marriage at that point. You know, but I've made my 2 divorces such like this defining factor of what a failure I am. When really I'm not. And I meet so many fucking people that talk about their 2 divorces, and I'm like, oh wow, that sucks. I've been there too, and like have compassion for them instead of judgment. But I have judgment for self instead of compassion in the same situation.
I feel like all that 2 divorces really means is that at least twice in your life, the season of your life changed and that you realized it was time to change it. Like, I mean this with the utmost respect to people that are married for like the timeless story of like, oh, high school sweethearts, they got married, they were together for 80 years. Like,
Proud of them.
if you can make that work, that's awesome. I hope that in those 80 years that you grew together in directions, because I just couldn't imagine 80 years of the same life of just every day we wake up, it's this, we do that, we do this. Like, and you're allowed to grow in directions that other people grow in their direction, and it just doesn't always click.
You're absolutely right. And like,
and that's not a failure. That's just growth. Growth is the opposite of failure. Staying in a loveless marriage would have been the failure.
right. And I see both of my ex-wives on social media, and I'm like, I don't want that in my life. So why would I be upset that ended? And it's more about the ego.
I know that feeling.
Right. You know, it's more about the ego and like the worry of like, am I good enough because I got divorced twice? And I think that's really more my thing. Feeling less than because I've failed at something twice. Well, I failed at business a number of times, but I keep moving forward. I've failed at a number of things a number of times. And what people love the most about me is that I don't quit. So why would I not
like
apply?
this. I don't like this use of the word failure. I'm gonna be honest, because you're like, well, I failed at business. Okay, do you think that the other shops that you have run and owned and worked for have shaped you to get to where you are now, to get to take naps with your kids and own your business and love your life?
Absolutely.
Then are those failures or lessons? And you know, like the same with marriage. If you had stayed and you were unhappy now and things were different and you didn't meet Donna because of that, and you didn't have Zen and you didn't have Rat Inc., would that be the failure? Or would the fact that you were smart and strong enough to be like, this ain't it? Like that, you know, it's failures are reserved for like literal failures. You know, if you're like, watch me slam dunk this basketball and you fucking whiff, like you failed at slam dunking the basketball. Being like, hey, watch me go into this loving relationship and grow as a human and then separate but live a rich, full life. Like, if you know, you can't whiff that, like you just did it, and it's not a failure. It was just growth.
Well, and I use the word failure as more of a like just a natural part of life and a tool, because like fail early, fail forward, fail often, or fail often, fail forward.
I feel like almost even contradicting yourself in like almost like really, how do you, like he's saying, like how is that failure? Like I feel like you're just using that word like you would tell someone else that.
It sounds like you're trying to punish yourself a little bit.
And that's the thing. I don't intend it to be that. And that's not the thing. It's just verbiage that I've picked up over the years that it's like, well, failure is a part of life. You've got to fail to make it forward. And going in the gym, like failing at the gym is a sign of a good thing, because when you worked your muscles to failure, you've won, because now you can't work out no more. Your muscles need to grow and they need rest to grow. And you've done a great job pushing them. So it's interesting.
I don't not get that. But when you say that you worked out so hard that you've got muscle failure, I don't hear muscle failure. I think muscle growth.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you are literally working stuff out and growing. And yeah, you can be like, oh man, that last set I couldn't do it because I worked my muscles to the point that they couldn't. But you didn't fail at lifting it. You succeeded at, I don't know. It just seems like it's a lot of narrative spinning that you're looking for that blue car that you could be like, hey, this is growth. Hey, I'm growing as a person. Hey, I'm literally getting stronger with weights. Hey, I exited this marriage and went into this marriage. Or you could be like, man, I fucking failed at a lot.
Well, and what you're calling me out on is the baggage I've carried around attached to those situations that I'm working my way out of. And a lot of the time you can talk yourself really around in circles before you work yourself out of it. and thanks for the reminder that I am doing the talking myself in circles. Because I hate when somebody sits there and justifies some bullshit behavior like a fucking idiot. And if I'm sitting here justifying bullshit behavior like a fucking idiot, I'm like, ah.
Hey,
Oh, Robbie.
to be totally unrelated, but I was talking to someone recently and we were just talking about value and stuff like that. So say you made 100 paintings and you sold 50 now and you gave the other 50 to your boys. And later, and then the first 50 are sold and they have that value, but that increases the value of the others. So I wonder, it kind of increased your value by having that, either that turbulence or that experience or whatever, but you're actually more valuable because, it might not necessarily have been the most fun at all. And looking back, it still sucks, but you do have more value too for making it through those experiences.
Right.
And having those life experiences to draw back on.
Right. And like, I appreciate that all so much because that is the truth. That's the dead ass truth, because if former me could see me now, he'd be feeling all right about me. Yeah,
And it's funny because we were just talking about that last week.
Yeah.
That going through all of that with having worked at other shops and dealt with clients that like before you would own a tattoo shop, before anyone anywhere should own a tattoo shop, you should be prepared because of trials by fire under others, getting thrown in the lake feet first and just like, fuck it, figure it out, to be able to be like, I know what to do when a problematic customer comes in. I know what to do when one of my artists is having issues. I know, like, you are literally just building yourself into being a well-rounded, fire-forged human being that can handle anything because, oh, I went through a marriage and a divorce. I know what it takes to make a relationship work or when to be like, this isn't working, we need to end it. I know because I had a kid what to do with my second kid that you had, like 20 years after the first one to be like, hey, I've done this. I've been around the block. I know a thing or two. And it's not a failure to be able to pick up that life lesson so that when you're 43, 42,
Yep.
42, with modern medicine and everything, you've got at least another 80, 90 years in you. To think about the fact that if Robbie at 42 is like, all right, I did the 2 divorces, I've had the 2 kids, I've done this, I've failed at business, I've succeeded at this thing, I've done that. Like Robbie at 50 is going to be handling shit like a G. Robbie at 60 is going to be like, failure, how are you? Like, it's just continuously building up that future Robbie. So it's definitely, I like that you perceived it as fail forward. That's a good way to look at it. But it's like, it's not really a failure.
No, if we're talking about failure, it's more likened to muscle failure.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, there were failed marriages because just like your muscles won't work anymore, the marriages don't work anymore. They are no longer active. But no, I do appreciate the call out on the energy because when I talk about failing in the gym, I sound and feel different than when I talk about failing at marriages. There's a different energy that comes out of me from that. And that is because I've learned.
Someone convinced you that divorcing is failure.
What's that?
Somebody convinced you that divorcing is failure, and you've taken that on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of the age we're at, though. That I feel like divorce wasn't casual until the late 90s, early 2000s. Like we definitely grew up in, if you can't make a marriage work, you are a failure.
You are a failure. Yeah. And like I was the first one out of like any of like the family to get a divorce, really, of like all the kids, all the cousins, all the grandkids and shit. Like my New York family is Long Island, New York. So like these motherfuckers live with their mom and dad until they're like 30, and then they get married and then they never get divorced. So like that was like the concept of marriage that I grew up with. My parents, they knew each other. My mom was 12, and then my dad died when he was 72, turning 72, and they were never apart. So like I was brought up in like, you don't give up on marriage and you're a quitter and you're a failure. And like my mom was so devastated for me when I got divorced the first time. Like, and once again, we're talking about old patterns and noticing things. I'm noticing that this is a lot of my old stuff. And like, just because it's a core memory doesn't mean you have to live off it forever. You know, you can actually change your narratives in real life and live happier and healthier and better because of that experience, because of being forged in fire, because of the pressure it took to make the diamond. So yeah, I can't wait to meet fucking 60-year-old Robbie, because I just met a 70-year-old dude at a fucking car show who could have kicked all of our asses and was like mad fucking like healthy and dope car and like just living life. So I'm like, man, I can do that.
Chill,
I can
right?
do that. What's that?
And he was chill, right?
I don't know if he liked me, because I think he was a little insecure about my pink car. Some of the car guys get insecure about my car being pink. But like, you know, he looked like he was having a good life other than that. And his wife was a really great conversationalist, and she's a beautiful human. So
Something wonderful happens around 45 years old. When you hit 45, you run out of fucks to give.
right.
You just
And
do.
like,
You have less. You realize you gave them out willy-nilly in your 20s. In your 30s, you started to slow down. But by 45, you're like, I only have so many fucks left to give, and I'm not giving them out to just anybody.
right. And I think like part of the turmoil that I've been going through internally lately is like being on the crest of something awesome happening. Usually you're facing a storm before that awesome. So like getting to the point where I'm just not going to give fucks like I do. You got to work out some things. And I feel like I'm working out the bugs and the kinks and learning how to take more baby naps.
I feel like that too. I almost like with certain things, I know like, and it keeps happening and I'm right, but I'm not right. Where I feel like I've lost all willpower towards anything that isn't the greater thing that I don't know what it is. I know that's probably my biggest problem at the moment, which seems grandiose, but I mean, you know, like opportunity, and this is fantastic, you know, and I almost turn it down because the more fantastic thing, I turn to my right and there it is, and then I turn to my left. And I think that it's almost like that feeling of being open, or like it's still really, really uncomfortable and scary. But
yeah.
Bring it here, baby.
Well, I remember we were turning in our cable box to live on the road full time out of the car a couple years ago. And I was on the phone with a guy that I met through a random person that I met at a convention. And she was like, this guy's a really great guy. If you ever want to talk to somebody, maybe you should give him a call one day. And so we reached out on Facebook and we spoke, and I was like, man, I should talk to you. So as I'm in that parking lot, dropping off the fucking, the cable box, really finalizing I'm living on the road full time. He was like, look, right now you feel like the opportunities aren't there for you. But at some point in time, there's going to be so many opportunities, you can't say yes to all of them. And then that's going to be the reality you're living. And that, what you just said, Lauren, kind of like sparked that for me in the whole concept of, you don't know what the greater good is, because like there's so many great things. Like, what's the greatest thing? What's the main goal? What's the main purpose? What do I say yes to? And honestly, once again, focusing on the blue car, I feel like what my purpose is at this point is the family, is the people that give me the love to move forward and the fuel to refill my love tanks when you know, I don't know how they're going to get refueled. And then letting the rest kind of fall into place. So I feel like my purpose has just become like focusing on the people that care about me the most. And then the rest of the stuff will work out. So maybe yours is similar. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I've given, you know, since my kids were born, I've been the one who has been a professional mom, you know, like
Mm.
last year alone, I was gone for almost 4 months, you know, and just for the tattoo stuff that I was, yes, that has provided these opportunities, but it makes me wonder, like, really, was that my motivation or was my professional career, which I don't necessarily have technically anymore. It's different, you know, but it's the question, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just kind of your journey as your journey right now. And I feel like I like hearing other people's cloudy and foggy parts of their journey. Makes me feel less weird about my cloudy and foggy points, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we all have them. You know, I get reverence from people. Oh wow, the way you built a brand, the way you do this, the way you do that. And I'm like, thank you so much. I still feel like I'm losing my mind a lot of the time, but thank you for thinking I'm doing something well here. So it's just interesting how we can all be so hard on ourselves in the process of our journey when other people are like, wow, nice journey. You know?
Oh, we all build into our own head how much harder it is for our, like, for others versus ourselves or vice versa, that when people are like, oh man, you did this, this, and this, and you're like, thank you for acknowledging, because I have no clue what I'm doing, I'm just figuring it out. They're the same boat, but you make it look easy, and that's where that reverence comes from, is that we all have our things that we just naturally make look easy, whether it's that you're an extrovert or that you are super good at math or artistic talent or, you know, just style. Like, everybody has their thing that people see and they're like, wow, you just make it look so easy. And it's because you see the outside perspective versus knowing that if you looked into, like with you, with like the pink and all the colors and everything, that like you put a lot of thought and work and focus into that, and it is a big part of you. It doesn't just necessarily come naturally. Like, you didn't just come out of the womb in a dope fucking Hawaiian shirt. Like, there's work and there's life and there's love that goes into it, and I
Right.
think other people see it, and when you do something right and you're passionate about it, you make it look easy, and other people really do gravitate to and acknowledge that, because it taps into something in their insecurity of like, man, I wish I could just wear. I mean, that was what you and I initially bonded about when you were in
Right.
Ohio and we talked, and I was like, it's super cool to see somebody else in tattooing that is just unashamedly you know, whatever themselves, and themselves happens to be a really big colorful goofball in a lot of ways. And it made me feel so much better that I'm like, man, I work at a shop where everybody here is insanely talented, but also 1000% acts like a fucking rock star. And I'm just like in my jorts with a yoo-hoo and some heart-shaped sunglasses, laughing all the way. And I was like, Robbie did it, and that guy got,
I
you
warned
know.
the guys at the shop that I'd be showing up in some cutoff jorts this summer, and they can make fun of me all they want. I don't care.
Well, you know, and like that was the thing. I kicked in the I kicked in the door the way I am and just showed up as myself, because at this point in time I don't know how to be anything else, right? And if I'm in a tat shop, bitch, that's the one place I'm supposed to be me. Never mind you tell me how I'm gonna act. So like I'm gonna walk up in this bitch and be me, homie. So like it's nice when you can find others that do that, that feel that, that vibe with that relate to that. And it's just like real recognize real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it just worked, because I looked at you and I was like, man, you make it look so easy. And you're like, well, it isn't always. And that made me feel better too, that I'm like, not only does this guy show that I can be myself and I can be a fucking lovable goofball, and I'm serious when it needs to be, but as a whole, I can just be me. But also, he's admitting that it's not easy. So I shouldn't feel bad when, sorry, I got the hiccups. I shouldn't feel bad when it's not always easy. Like, man, everybody else is struggling too. That's crazy.
Right.
And
You know,
it really is a cool thing.
and it's cool because as you're saying this, like it just made me have this thought of like, I enjoy the fact that I'm multifaceted now. Like for a while, I just wanted to be the nice guy and I wanted everybody to love me. And I just always wanted to be positive and I didn't want any bad days. And I don't know how to make that happen. But I also know that the other night when we had the concert at my shop and I had to use my dad voice against the homeless person who was throwing up in the parking lot and like trying to fight me because I asked him not to post up there. I realized, wow, I used my dad voice, and every other dude with a dad voice looked over there, and I had a fucking crew ready to fucking back me up. And that's a voice I'm afraid of using, because people can get hurt when I use that voice. You know what I'm saying? Like that like scary voice, and that the tone, and like demanding something from someone. That's something that I used to hate. But like knowing that I could use that for the greater good of my group and my people, I'm like, wow, that was really cool. And people came together, you know, with the intention of like, hey, let's just restore peace to this fucking parking lot, because this is a nice show. We're gonna listen to live music, you know, and like, yes, we can drink, but we don't have to throw up here. And when someone asks us to leave because we're throwing up, we don't fight them. You know, and like, what's that?
Life lessons. I actually have to interrupt, and I'm really sorry I have to jump off, you guys, but glad I got to say hi, you know.
Yeah.
Always glad to hear from you.
See you.
Yeah, Amber, I haven't seen you in quite a while. Robbie, I did one of these days, or at some point we should connect. I had a few ideas in my mind I wanted to talk about.
I love it, and let's do it, because I love ideas and I like talking, and I like you. I really appreciate your energy, and I've always felt good things from you. So yes, let's move forward.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, happy to see all of you, and I'll see you again maybe next week or soon.
Awesome. We take care. Lauren.
Bye.
But yeah, like, you know, tapping into the parts of you, like I like that I'm multifaceted now. I'm embarrassed that I cry. Almost every time before I cry, I get embarrassed. But I always feel a million times better when I'm done crying. So I like that I cry.
Yeah.
You know, I like that I can yell at people and scare people when I need to. You know, I like all the things about me that I didn't necessarily love before. I like the fact that it seems that I have to fucking get it wrong a couple times before I get it right certain times with things. But that just helps teach me more. So, you know, being a multifaceted person and enjoying that, like, you have more than just one way to bring it, it's nice that you can actually be that. You don't have to just bring it the same way all the time.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to change your shit up from time to time. So yeah. But Lauren just jumped off, and it is 6:02. So
Oh wow.
let's go ahead and end this for the day. Thank you everyone for being here. Once again, it was
Thank
awesome.
you for
Lauren,
hosting, as always.
Amber, always appreciate you. Always love your input. Always love to see your face and hear your voice. Dusty,
Thank you.
you're my spirit animal. I love you.
I love you. And I drew all of my spring flash sale for Friday Flash
Ooh.
while we did this. So I hope it didn't seem like I was just zoning out, because I was super listening, but also doodling a bunch of little birds and strawberries.
Well, you know, that was perfect because I had a lot to say today. So, you know, it worked out.
Yeah. I have been 1000% in observe mode today, because a lot of hilarious stuff is happening in the world. And, you know, here we are.
Uh-huh.
Hilarious world we're living in.
It's crazy.
Ooh. Well, love you guys. All of y'all out there in the interweb world land, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the replay. Everyone at Reinventing, Guy, Gabe, everyone else, thank you guys so much for allowing us to get together and do something that tattoo artists don't all the time do, which is talk about feelings. So thank y'all. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day.
I love you guys.
Time.
Love you. Bye.